the Lord of Chaos announces 25% tariffs on cars not made in the United States. Nobody knows what the hell's going on with this guy day to day. We got tariffs, we don't have tariffs, we have half tariffs, we have small tariffs, we have tariffs on this country, that country, no countries. Who knows? Who knows? He's like the Jackie Mason up there.
Yeah.
We're gonna do some tariffs, no tariffs. Maybe a few tariffs, maybe no tariffs. I don't know. We'll see. So this is what the Donald had to say when asked about it.
Would you remove these auto tariffs, sir, or is this permanent for the rest of your term in office?
Oh, this is permanent, yeah, 100%, yeah.
Are you on the auto tariffs, sir? Did Elon
Yeah, by permanent he means maybe until tomorrow, but who knows? Who knows with him? President Donald Trump on Wednesday said he would impose 25% tariffs on all cars that are not made in the United States. Trump said there is absolutely no tariff for cars that are built in the U.S. The new tariffs were codified in a presidential proclamation that Trump signed in the Oval Office. They will go into effect April 2nd, and we will start collecting April 3rd, he said. Trump White House aide Will Scharf said the new tariffs apply to foreign-made cars and light trucks. He clarified that they come in addition to duties that are already in place. From my understanding, that's 2.5% already in place. So on passenger cars, it would be 27.5 total. Scharf said the tariffs will result in over $100 billion of new annual revenue to the U.S. Specifics about the proclamation were not immediately clear. Most vehicles are assembled from thousands of parts that may originate from dozens of different countries. Well, you know, the guys who organize a secret military action by signal are exactly the guys to coordinate a complex tariff system like that.
Right.
I'm sure that's going to go very smoothly. So this is a chart of vehicle imports as a percentage of sales in the U.S. And where these countries, where these parts are coming from, what countries make them. So something that this article doesn't get into, that maybe we'll cover later on. Car sales have been going down in the U.S. as it is, partly because, and this is part of what Marx predicts as well, you know, the oligarchs come and they loot the society to the point that capitalism can't work because people can't afford anything anymore.
Right.
People can't afford to buy cars. So you know what the best idea is? Make them more expensive. You are having more people than ever before, particularly younger people, deciding not to own cars, period. So by the time tariffs like this would lead to the construction of more factories, then more people are going to have figured out how to live without a car. I can tell you, we were talking about this earlier. Having lived in places where you need a car, people talk about how expensive New York is, and it is. But you also have to consider you don't need a car. That is an enormous monthly expense that you don't have if you live in a place where it's actually easier to get around with public transportation. To have a car in New York, you just got to hate yourself. There's just no reason for it.
Yeah. Or be so rich that you could afford to just pay
you can garage
astronomical prices for parking and garaging and parking. You know, you could even pay people to park it for whatever. But yeah, if money is an object to you, then yeah, you have to hate yourself to have a car in the city.
There's no reason. You're going to get tickets all the time. There's just no reason for it. Trump said there will be very strong policing on which parts of a car are hit with tariffs. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, that is such a Bond villain name, quickly criticized the new U.S. tariffs and vowed that the European Union will continue to seek negotiated solutions while safeguarding its economic interests. Tariffs are taxes, bad for businesses, worse for consumers, equally in the U.S. and the European Union, she said in a statement. Auto stocks fell in after-hours trading following Trump's announcement. Shares of General Motors, Stellantis, and Ford Motor all lost roughly 5% in extended trading. Now, I'm not sure where it is right now, but the market really just didn't even know what to do with this because he keeps saying these things and then reversing himself a day later. So actually last night, the automakers dropped as they described. By this morning, they had kind of come back to even. Last time I looked, they were dropping again, although Tesla was up. I don't know if there's additional news on Tesla or what, but yeah, the markets just don't really know what to do with this. Trump on March 5th gave those automakers known as the Big Three a 1-month exemption from his 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada for vehicles that comply with an existing North American trade deal known as the USMCA. Trump had previously hinted that new auto tariffs could arrive before April 2nd, the day of his sweeping reciprocal tariff plan is set to begin. Quote, we'll be announcing that fairly soon over the next few days, probably. And then April 2nd comes, that'll be reciprocal tariffs, he said at a cabinet meeting Monday. Oh, joy. Trump has long signaled his plans to impose heavy tariffs on foreign trading partners, but his unpredictable and frequently shifting policy rollouts have stirred turmoil in the stock market and left business leaders uncertain about how to plan for the future. Trump has hyped April 2nd as Liberation Day and the big one. That's the day he brings us all to camps. His plan, as originally described, would slap reciprocal tariffs on all countries that have their own import duties on U.S. goods, while also imposing tariffs in response to other disfavored trade policies, such as the use of value-added tax. But Trump and his officials have recently suggested that the tariffs coming April 2nd could end up being softer than they first appeared. See, that must be what started popping the stocks back up. Trump said Friday that there will be flexibility on those tariffs. Yeah, so that's it. And on Tuesday night, suggested the duties will be more lenient than reciprocal. Treasury Secretary, and I will interject former George Soros protege, Scott Bessent, said last week that countries can pre-negotiate with the U.S. to avoid facing new tariffs on April 2nd. So, in other words, nobody knows what the hell's going on. That's why the market is up, down, even on the cars. I tell you, last night they dropped. By this morning, they were up. Last time I looked, they were down again. Nobody knows what's happening with this administration. Will they do the tariffs by next week? Maybe, maybe not. As I said, people are already starting to trend away from owning cars because they can't afford them. Can't imagine this is going to help.
No, get your oil changes, everybody. Stay on top of your oil changes. Keep track of the cars you got, because it is going to be some time before the average person can afford to buy a car. Like, we just finished. We have two. We just finished paying off one. You know, we had a 6-year loan.
Right.
And yeah, man, we are going to baby that thing for as long as we can. I want as many years out of that as I could possibly get, because we bought a second car when Amanda got the job here, because at the time she had to commute 90 miles each way. We were living in the Hudson Valley, so we needed a new one, and it was a fortune compared to what we paid for the previous one 6 years ago. Like, the car market has been out of control just because of regular inflation, never mind these fucking tariffs. Now you're talking about a 25% additional tariff. It's insane. It's insane. Like, how is life getting any better because of this? I don't understand that. Like, how? What it's going to get better for the rich people who are going to get a tax cut. These tariffs are to pay for tax cuts for rich people. That's what these are for. Ordinary people are not going to see this money. We're going to get $100 billion in new revenue. What that's going to pay for is part of the $4.5 trillion in tax cuts that they seek to renew and make permanent that Trump passed in 2017. That's what the payoff is. The payoff is not to the ordinary person. And when you add all of these things together, some of which we're going to be covering later in the show, like, this is just not a desirable place to live. Like, does it occur to people that this is not a desirable place to live anymore, and is not going to be for much longer for all that many people?
It was already a shithole country. The biggest advantage that American oligarchs have is that Americans don't travel. They don't know how shitty this country is. They've been told their entire lives, we're number one. We're number one. It's the greatest country in the world. You go to any Western country And by that, I mean as a category, not necessarily geographically. I would include Australia, any country within that category. And you're going to realize America's a shithole. America is the worst industrialized, wealthy nation I have ever been to. It's not even close. No place else is anything like the United States. Every place else, look, I mean, I guess I can say this, my pretty much ex-wife, she has cancer. She just got treatment. It's not like, how am I paying for this?
Right.
Oh my God, my mother's going to have to sell the house. Like, it's not like this any other place in the world, only here. And they're trying to make it worse under the guise of looking for fraud. They're not looking for fraud. They're trying to find ways to kick people off Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security. Well, yes, you're right. Who's going to want to live here? Look, if I lived in another country, I wouldn't even visit. I won't visit Israel on principle. Would I come here? No.
These people, they speak fondly of the Gilded Age. They speak fondly of the pre-income tax United States when the government was funded entirely through tariffs. What do you think that's about? This is all about figuring out how to give themselves permanent, massive tax cuts. And they're selling it to you. What ordinary person thinks they're going to benefit from a 25% tariff on cars? People who are having a hard time affording cars pre-tariff. The car market has been fucking insane.
Yeah,
for years now.
Yeah.
Years now. We had to put double the down payment down to have the same monthly payment that we did when we bought a car. Just whatever it was, 2017, something like that. Like, it went so insanely off the hook so quickly before these tariffs. So how are everyday people, working class people, middle class people supposed to buy a car in this market now? How?
Right.
And at what point do people say, hey, you know what? Our quality of life is not improving here. We're being screwed here.
I think pretty quickly. I think by the end of the year, people are just not going to be able to feel like they're winning because they can be mean to Snow White or whatever bullshit their rage is channeled into. What was very revealing for me? It was about this time last year. I spent about 2 months in New Orleans. And, I did some live videos talking as I was walking around. And I was in what's a relatively nice area, the Garden District. It's one of the nicest maybe the nicest area in New Orleans. And I'm walking down the street filming myself, and I can see some of our overseas viewers saying, those are the roads there? It looks like the third world. And that was the nice part of town.
Right.
That was the nice part of town. You go to the other side of New Orleans, they got roads where they haven't paved them in so long, they've gone back to dirt.
Right.
I'm not even kidding.
Yep.
Where you see the tarmac end and it goes back to dirt.
Yep.
It's the richest country on earth. Yeah, we have resources. They've been robbed from you.
That's right.
Please clap.